The stakes have never been higher. The competition has never been stronger. 42 drivers, 25 rounds. One will be crowned champion. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American Open Wheel Series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment starts now.
Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. All around America throughout the summer, short track rumbles every Wednesday with the sound of race car engines. From midgets to late models to modified, nothing is better than spending the night at your local short track. Now it's time for the Lionheart boys to get in on the action. It's short track racing Lionheart style. Presented by First Medical Equipment from ISM Raceway, it is the Thumbs Up Cancer Down Phoenix 200, round 4 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series Season 7 Championship. And you can see all the virtual IR18 racing action from green flags to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. From the Grand Canyon State, hello and welcome to the Sim Experience Countdown to Green. Over the next 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate the Thumbs Up Cancer Down Phoenix 200 that will immediately follow as we count down to green. And here to do all of that is yours truly, Bill Soupson, joined way up in the press box to bring you our bird's eye view by former real-world IndyCar driver Richie Hearn. Amjad Yaman has director duties armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Last week at Kentucky, we had Scotty Johnson getting his first ever Lionheart victory. Johnson did not pit as the caution came out at the tail end of the final pit cycle when Connor Harrington turned Jason Galvin down the backstraight. With a cushion of lap cars between himself and the fast guys, Johnson stole the win. From the high banks of Kentucky, we go to this D-shaped oval at ISM for the first brush with the Lionheart drivers will have with what is this series, the series organizers are calling a short track. Richie, what is this place all about?
Yeah, here we are at Phoenix International Raceway. It is located just outside of Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona. The track was built in 1964. It's been around a long time, done a lot of good racing there. Raced there myself many times. It's a very tricky track. It's not your typical 1 mile track. It's different on both ends. Turn 1 and 2 is a little tighter, but it's banked a little bit more at 10 to 11 degrees. Turns 3 and 4 is a little flatter but wider, and it's only banked about 8 degrees. Does have a little tricky little dog leg on the back as well, but it does produce a lot of good racing. Great track for these Indy cars, but probably the best way to jump is to jump on board. For you guys to see is to jump on board that GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yasek, taking for a spinner on the Phoenix International Raceway and the GSRC IR18 IndyCar. So without further ado, here we go. Off here into turn 1, letting off the gas just a little bit to let the front end rotate, drive kind of straight through the corner, back off of it, kind of cut through the dog leg as much as you can right here, shave half a tenth or so. Down here into turn 3, wide entry, kind of let it float through the middle and then grab 4th gear on either side, grab it up, get out of the corner, down the front stretch again. You could see guys move around a little bit, but I'm really not seeing that a whole lot in this car just yet. Round 1 and 2, cutting through the dog leg again. Make sure you don't hit those cones and take them with you around the track. Down into turn 3, a little bit of brake, a little bit off the gas, down into 4th gear. Let the car pick it up and hit its rev band off of turn 4 and across the line. And that's going to complete our track guide here around the Phoenix International Raceway. I'm Brian Yasek. Enjoy the show.
And that is a lap around Phoenix International Raceway, otherwise known as ISM Speedway. This countdown to green is brought to you by Sim Experience, the makers of AccuForce Pro V2 Complete, the premier professional racing simulation steering system. The key to the AccuForce Pro's incredible realism is the groundbreaking direct drive motor control system, providing a driving experience that, when combined with today's best racing simulators, is as close as you can get to driving the real thing. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the Sim Vibe software, 3D0OF, Stage Series Motion, and GS5 G4 Seat, visit www.simexperience.com. Please use the promo code SIMXLION to get 5% off the Sim Vibe software.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at the driver points now, and you can see that Adam Blocker is up in front, Dan Guerin right behind him. That interval is 13 points. Guerin does have a win, and he has been really dominant here at Phoenix. In fact, he's been on the pole the last 3 races. Dustin Wardlow is up a position. Up 9 spots is Justin Weaver, and he's gonna be our spotlighted driver tonight. We're gonna keep track of him through the entire race. Good luck to him. Sometimes that's a jinx. Brian Yosick is also very fast. He sits in that tie for 4th position. See, we go all the way down to 16th. Let's go ahead and look at the team championships now. And I'm not so much going to talk about who sits up front, but I'm talking about who did well last time out. LPM, thumbs up. That was teamed up with Brian Yosick, James Krahula, and Brian Greenlee. They were the best drivers last time out. They picked up 102 points. Synergy West was second. Now, the team I want to talk about is Skidmark Gold. They're way at the bottom. You see down there that it says Micus and Ryman are their teammates, but I'm showing them also having Scotty Johnson, who stole that win, and Bart Workman. They were 3rd overall last round with 89 points. Pretty good race for them. Adrenaline Motorsports, not very good. They were only 5th with Adam Blocker, Brian Carey, and Andrew Kinsella, only totaling 84. All right, there's your team championships. Let's talk about the rookies.
Yeah, they like Rookie of the Year series point standing is presented by Butt Kicker. We have Carey up front, moving 1 spot ahead of Sage Karam. He's 14 points ahead. We have Jenkins up 2 spots into 3rd. He's only 18 points behind Carey, though, so it's a tight field. And Altman also up 3 spots from last race, up 23 or up 4th to 4th. 23 points behind. We have some guys moving down. George Salmon moved down to 5th, Hill down to 6th, and Sean Cole down to 8th. So this Rookie of the Year standing is going to be really tight. We have some great drivers in there, and we'll just keep attention to that as we go along.
George Salmon just waiting for, let's get us back on a twisty road course. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the Drivers' Championship was presented by First Medical Equipment, and of course the Team Championship was presented thanks to the good guys at Plasma Tracks. Now, Lionheart, considered the premier fixed setup racing league for the Dallara IR18 on the iRacing service. The Lionheart IndyCar Series honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon. And with that, I segue into this. For better or for worse, we go to Setup Corner, where we find Professor Lugnut on the ground, and I think the chalkboard explains it all. Professor, what's up?
You know, Arnold, I really like that groundhog in Caddyshack. He was funny. Oh, wait a second. Soup, I'm sorry you're there. Hey, no, ground effects. We're talking about ground effects. That's right. Ground effects. Listen, you know, when car racing was kind of fledgling and aerodynamics were kind of the thing, you know, they stole a lot of those ideas from the aerospace industry. They started putting upside down airplane wings on cars so they could create downforce rather than lift like you'd see on the airplane. That's what makes them go up. Well, the same principle goes the other way. It goes down. Now, they refine the wings over time to produce more grip in the cars. And, you know, listen, they really changed all that with the Lotus 79, which, of course, they run here in the Lionheart IndyCar Series on Thursday nights. Now, those ground effects led that car, that Lotus 79, to an F1 championship in 1978. Now, listen, the topside aerodynamics primarily rely on Newton's third law to generate downforce. But, Soup, you know what other law applies? They've relied on another principle for downforce on the bottom of the car.
Brunelli?
Correct, the Bernoulli Principle, right. The Bernoulli Principle states that an increase in the speed of a fluid occurs simultaneously with a decrease in pressure. Now, here at Phoenix this week, ISM Raceway, the race engineers at Lionheart have created a setup with no wing pitch. Very, very little downforce created by the wings this week. Now, there will be downforce, but it's going to be created by the cars themselves. Instead, they'll be relying on the ground effects to create all of their downforce. Now, the underside of the IR-18, well, it's shaped that the bottom of the car rises the further back it goes down the car. So a limited air in the front, and that air has more space to fill. But Soup, as Bernoulli predicted, this forms a low pressure area. It causes the air to accelerate and sucks the car to the ground. That's how the IR-18 turns a small amount of air into a large amount of downforce, and it allows us to enjoy closer IndyCar racing, maybe even closer than you've seen before. Back to you.
Thank you, Professor. I think the professor's getting paid by the word there. Hey, could you imagine if Danny Bernoulli came like a couple centuries later? What a great IndyCar mechanic he would be. He'd be groundbreaking as far as ground effects go. All right, let's go to something more straightforward. How about we talk about the race details, Richie?
And these series details come to us thanks to Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. I just bought myself some of these. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit www.273.biz. Use promo code LHRS for that 25% off all orders. All right, here we are at the Sears Details. We are in the 7th season of the Lionheart IndyCar Series. We're in round 4 of 24. We do have 3 driver drops available, so that will come into play as we get along here. We're using the Dallara IR-18. The setups are fixed, but they are adjusted for everybody to make for some great racing. And we're working on some cash and prizes totaling $9,652.
Richie, I got to ask you, when you purchased your gloves, did you use promo code LHRS to get 25% off your order?
Absolutely.
All right. See, if you're a sponsor out there and you don't think that this actually works, put in your products here on Lionheart. There's a fine example. Not only will you sell your wares to regular folks, the unwashed, the proletariat like you and me, you'll sell them to former real-world IndyCar drivers as well. And boy, that's worth the price of the product right there. All right, I think we've got all our business out of the way. How about a quick look at the weather here in Arizona? See what it's like. Oh, that's good burro weather. Get on a burro, take it down the canyon. That's comfortable. 75 degrees air temperature, 75 degrees underneath the hoofs of your burro. That's pretty good. That's not only going to make for good racing, that's going to make for good burro climbing there. Oh, mercy, it's going to be a long day. I'm already getting a little loopy, and we haven't even started yet. The fewest yellow flags here, and I'm going to get off to a start, has been 7. I don't know if we're going to break that record today, as this setup is going to be tricky. Not a lot of downforce in this one. They're going to have to break qualifying going on right now.
Yeah, they kind of have trimmed the downforce out to eliminate that pack-style racing. So you're going to have to be a driver to get by people, which could be good, but could cause some yellows. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now we got qualifying going on. And looks like Adam Blocker is sitting on top with a lap of 20.125. Much better than he started last race. But he did a good finish with that.
Hey, how about a kiss for your cousin Dupree? It's in their car number 25. The fans are just going crazy with Isaiah Dupree sitting second in qualifying.
Yeah, put on a good lap there at 20.132. Just 8 thousandths of a second behind Adam Blocker. Looks like everybody's done here, so we'll be ready to call that grid out fairly soon.
Let's go to the grid right now as qualifying is done. And sure enough, no surprise to see Adam Blocker on the pole, but outside of him, Isaiah Dupree. Richie?
Yeah, nicely done for him. Sage Karam starting 3rd, and right next to him in row 2 will be Chris Linini.
Couple vets in row 3. Brian Yosick is going to be inside of Dustin Wardlow.
Andrew Kinsella putting in a good lap time, starting 7th, and right next to him will be James Branton, 8th.
James Motley Krahula in 9th position. He's going to be flanked by Joe Cadigan Flanagan.
Starting 11th will be Brian Greenlee, and 12th will be Jason Robards.
Dandy Dan Guerin in the Baker's Dozen spot. He's going to be flanked by fan favorite Tyler Groff.
Mike Rigney in 15th, and Jason Galvin in 16th.
In 17th, it's Justin Weaver, sided by Brian Beard.
Damon Martinez starting 19th, and Scotty Johnson, winner last week, is start 20th.
It's a long two-wood over to Las Vegas from Phoenix. Michael Goodman hitting blackjack. The double duck spot, Ken Hacker.
Starting 23rd will be Paul Jenkins, and right next to him will be Mark Cohn.
The meat man, Bobby Mikas in the quarter century mark inside of Ron Hacker.
Christopher starting 27th, Joe Branch in 28th.
Brian Carey and Big Joe Hassard in 29th and 30th.
31st will be Bart Workman, and right next to him in 32nd will be George Anzalda.
Then you're going to have Greg West and Brandon Limkeman.
35th will be Ryan Corns, and 36th will be Robert Bluen.
37th, 38th, Tony Showen and Samuel Ryman.
39th will be Sean Cole, and 40th will be John Hill.
Sean Cole back there in 39th did not put in a qualifying time. Neither did Tony Showen, Samuel Ryman, or John Hill. 36 drivers did. Our slowest time, 20 seconds, 0.5. Fastest time, 20.1. We do have some onboard cameras today as the drivers are sitting in pit lane. There's the first one we're going to look at. That's the Chris Lanini in car number 92. He's in the Sim Experience onboard camera. For more information on the entire Sim Experience, go to simexperience.com. Sean Cole in the 85 Sim Pit onboard camera. News, reviews, and information from around the world about sim racing. thesimpit.com. And our race sponsor, Jason Galvin in the Thumbs Up Cancer Down, providing Central California cancer patients with support since 2014 through their innovative Power Up Packs. We're going to talk more about that later. That's a really cool charity. Our spotlighted driver today will be Justin Weaver. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. Into the first corner. Oh, we think we got trouble already.
Yeah, it was a pretty clean start until we got to the first turn. A couple guys getting together there in turn 1 and 2, so caution already.
We're looking for this one, and it happened up front. The first car to spin, I think it was Jason Galvin, our race sponsor.
Yeah, it just looks like cold tires out into the wall and collected, it looks like Justin Weaver, and one other car goes up on its side.
You go from first to worst. I believe it was Scotty Johnson. He won last round, and he is out after half a lap tonight.
Yeah, he just had nowhere to go there.
Right on board with Jason Galvin in the Thumbs Up Cancer Down onboard camera.
Yeah, it looks like just kind of lost it on his own. And like I say, they do have cold tires to start with, no tire heaters or tire warmers, and just got in there a little hot, and unfortunately that's the end of their races.
Well, not sure. Galvin looks like his car was drivable. He is in pit lane right now. Why don't we take this opportunity while Jason is at least still sitting there? We talk about Thumbs Up Cancer Down and what this is all about. They've been providing Central California cancer patients with support since 2014 through I talked about this, their innovative power packs, right? Now, if you have any experience in hospital stays, you know that the simple things can mean a lot. Each power pack has things like beanies and blankets that are made from special fibers that won't irritate a chemo patient's skin, sanitizers, a journal to write in during treatment, like a mobile charger in case you forget your charger or you get moved from a room and your charger doesn't come with you. It's a charger for phones and tablets and a bag that it can all fit in. To date, nearly 1,000 of these cool packs have been delivered to patients in and around Bakersfield. To find out more about this great charity and about power packs, visit thumbsupcancerdown.com. We're working lap number 4. Adam Blocker is your leader.
Yeah, looks like pace car lights are out, so we should be going green next time by. Would like to point out that Sage Karam was able to get past Isaiah Dupree for that position, so it's going to be Adam Blocker leading them with Sage Karam in second place.
As of now, those 3 cars that were involved are not racing. Justin Weaver, Jason Galvin, and Scotty Johnson. Adam Blocker had a horrible qualifying run last week. Worked his way all the way up to the field to almost get the win. All right, the pace car is in. Gather up the chickens, take cover on the cows. The horses are out of the barn. Adam Blocker leads the stampede down into the first corner. Real world IndyCar driver Sage Karam is in second. Cousin Dupree, Isaiah, back there in third, being chased by Brian Yosick and Chris Lanini. Lanini being overtaken by Andrew Kinsella. You see him too wide. That's Kinsella on the inside. Lanini in the dark colored car on the outside, Richie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was just watching that battle as everybody else up front single file, but Chris Lanini trying to make the move on Andrew Kinsella as they go through the dog leg. Now, when they go through 3 and 4, there are 2 grooves here, so that will kind of wear in as we go through the race, and that high groove will come in. But down into turn 1 and 2, it's really pretty much, you got to pretty much get right to the bottom to make any kind of lap time available. So as you see, Chris Lanini's got Dustin Wardlow right behind him, and they have also James Krahula looking to gain some spots.
Krahula in that vibrant citrus-flavored car back there in 9th position, racing on the high line, trying to follow Lanini through. Lanini and Wardlow side by side.
Yeah, right behind Andrew Kinsella. He's kind of separated himself from that, but right behind them for that 6th position, we have 2x2 racing and starting to get mixed up and packed up right behind them. So it's starting to get a little crazy back there in that 6th through 10th spot.
The front is separated out nicely, so let's watch the battle a little farther back than we were looking at.
Yeah, everybody's doing a good job. Looks like that early yellow kind of settled them down fairly quickly. James Brandt getting a little heat from the car behind him.
Boy, he gets really high. Thought he was going to put it in the wall. He is chasing, maybe washed up a little bit as he was chasing Krahula. That's Joe Flanagan.
And one thing we didn't bring up, I was going to say one thing we didn't bring up is going to be lap traffic, as this is only a 20-second lap track. Adam Blocker already going through, going into turn 3, but he's going to start catching up to the back of the pack fairly quickly, and that's going to really mix up this field.
All right, things are settling down. Let's press our luck and bring up our race analysis. How far are we going? How far can we go? And of course, this race analysis comes to you courtesy of Plasma Tracks. It is 200 laps. You know, it's also 200 miles. They tried to fool me, but they couldn't do it this time. We're going to go 54 laps for a stint, and then you see those incident caps. You get to 10 and you are DQ'd. Let me correct myself. You get to 20 and you're DQ'd, and you lose 10 championship points. If you can get to 20 incidents and still be racing here at Phoenix, I think you should earn points.
Surprisingly, everybody's kind of singled out a little bit, so everybody's settling down. The closest battle we have is down in probably 12th spot with Dan Guerin and Brian Greenlee. He's got a whole stack of cars behind him. We have Jason Robards trying to go to the inside of Brian Greenlee as they go through 1 and 2. Kind of settles in line as they go through the kink. Try to make a move into 3. He's got his nose sticking inside there. Just a little tight.
Careful there, Jason Robards, as he's able to hang on into 14th position. Your Jason Robards movie of the week is going to be Crimson Tide. He shows up at the very end of it as he's the military judge. Enjoy that movie. And Jason Robards' fine performance. That's Jason Robards, no connection at all. Races in 14th, right behind Brian. It's not easy being Greenlee.
Up front, I'm watching Adam Blocker. Sage Karam is slowly creeping up on him. He's running a little bit different line in turns 3 and 4 as Adam Blocker's running right down to the yellow line, and Sage Karam has been trying to work that high groove, is trying to get some clean air on that front wing is really important.
I think it's Tony Schowen. He gets loose right in front of Sean Cole. Another one of our onboard cameras. That's Sean had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a typical short track type of thing. If somebody spins, you get one chance to miss them, and sometimes you just can't.
Sean Cole takes a tumble. Come back live, and we were going to use Sean Cole was going to be one of our sponsors. I'm going to get them all out of the way early tonight. We're going to talk about the Sim Pit because Sean Cole was on the Sim Pit onboard camera, an entertainment channel dedicated to sim racing. It focuses on to bring you news, reviews, and information from around the world about sim racing hardware and software. It also focuses on what it takes to be a better race car driver, with instructional videos and how-tos that will help your performance on the virtual track. And no matter how much enthusiasm this GSC commentator puts into the reading of this plug, he still cannot get a simple shout-out during a Sim Pit episode. Now, if you don't want to mention me by name, how about simply working in the phrase, gather up the chickens, somewhere in your episode? Check it out at thesimpit.com.
All right, we got all the leaders coming down pit lane here, taking an early chance to get some fuel and tires. So obviously this is kind of a little bit of an issue. This is going to stretch their fuel run out. And we'll try not to do too much math here, but we'll kind of work backwards from there.
I'm telling you, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm getting my taxes done in February when I get both of the sponsor plugs out of the way here, and we're only at lap number 19. I have my burden is lightened. James Krahula is your leader. He did not pit, so who stayed out? Krahula, Dandy Dan Guerin, Brian Greenlee, Michael Goodwin, and the other driver, Ken Hacker. Everybody else came in. Scotty Johnson out of the race. Jason Galvin out. Justin Weaver is done. Sean Cole, I think his night is done as well. Tony Schowen. 5 down, 35 left.
Yeah, I think staying out was not a bad idea. I think track position is going to be key. Passing is going to be tight. We do have a pretty long fuel stint here with 54 laps, so that window is pretty wide open. And I'm assuming we'll see a few yellows, so
yeah,
I don't think that's going to hurt James Krahula or Dan Guerin, any of those guys who stayed out. And we'll see if they can hold off Adam Blocker and Sage Karen, but that might be a good move for those guys.
I think these guys are gambling that there's no way we're going to go 34 laps here without another caution flag. They'll have the opportunity to pit under yellow before they run out of fuel. Now, there was talk early on that they made a mistake and they set it up for a double file restart. I didn't pay attention, and is it a single file or is it a double file? I didn't really pay attention to the last one. It does look like double file, doesn't it?
No, they did the last one was single file,
okay.
So they did do single file the last restart.
There was some talk in the session that maybe they had programmed it wrong, that it was going to be a double file restart. Maybe it is a double file restart, and they've all decided that they're going to do the single file, which would be a wise decision.
Absolutely. So yeah, double file would be tough. So if that's the case, good on them to just settle down and just do that single file restart.
Richie, quickly, we get this in. What's Indy like with a 3-wide restart? Is that not as hectic as it seems?
No, it's more hectic than it seems.
Okay.
That track is not very wide and it's real sketchy. So it's you've seen some accidents on the pit, on the warm up, on the start there. Just purely have no room to make any move. You only have about 5 feet between each cars, but here we go.
James Krahula, your leader. He started in 9th position. He vultures all those spots because he stays out. Up 11 spots in second is Dandy Dan Guerin. Guerin qualified second, and we got another one. I'm showing Oh, it's the Watchman, Mark Cohn. This brought out a yellow. Boy, the iRacing stewards are cranky. Or did it? Oh, it did not bring out a yellow flag.
No, we're still green here.
Okay.
Right now,
Oh.
Sage Karam just making a move on Ken Hacker. He's gotten by Adam Blocker as well, so he's taking advantage of that not lap traffic, but guys that didn't pit. So, out of the guys that didn't pit, Sage Karam is our leader, and he's starting to make moves, starting to be pretty aggressive. And Adam Blocker's still struggling to get by Ken Hacker as they go through the dog leg there.
So on the restart, Mark Cohn got loose. The car went down and hit the wall that separates pit lane and the racing track. He was able to drive it all the way around. I think his night might be done. So let's add another one to the drivers that are having an early night. Krahula, Guerin, Greenlee, Goodman, and Karam, your top. You look at car number 1, the blue car of Adam Blocker. He stayed out. No, he pitted. Blocker should be faster than he is. He took pit.
Yeah,
he took a stop.
Blocker pitted, but he's just really struggling to get by Ken. He's trying the outside now as they go through the dog leg, but he just hasn't been able to complete that pass. Meanwhile, Sage Karam has, and he's moving on forward, but still, Adam Blocker's struggling to get that by. He still has not gotten by. He's got the nose on him as they go into turn 1 and 2, but he's on the outside, and it's really tough to make that happen. And it's really letting Sage kind of stretch away from him. Sage is all over the back of...
Hacker was covering the inside like wall-to-wall carpet. He got loose. He got into the car of Brian Yazik. Yazik does an Ola Corbett down the pit, down the track.
And here's the replay coming up as they go through the kink. And, Brian was there, and Ken just moved up and took him out. Maybe he didn't know he was there, but man, a bunch of cars going on their lid, and we're slowly eliminating people here.
We'll watch it from above. I think one of the cars that might escape through, that's Chris Lanini. Watch Lanini right there go underneath Hacker. I think he went underneath Hacker and Yazik as well. I think he went under them both.
Yeah, that was
right
unfortunate there. I mean, there's plenty of room to go side by side, so he just maybe didn't know he was there, just kind of drifted up, and he was there.
We're going to go on board with Wardlow. Get a view of this one.
There we are, right above that rear tire there. Coming through the dog leg, you see the cars flipping, and yep, just right on through, and unfortunately that's just the way it goes.
Okay, so we think maybe Wardlow picked up some damage trying to go underneath the cars. We still have 4 drivers that stayed out. That yellow flag came too soon for James Krahula, Dan Guerin, Brian Greenlee, and Michael Goodman. They're all going to stay out, run a little longer.
Yeah, I mean, the way this is going, you might as well. You're not, he was pulling away, so he wasn't like falling back, so he might as well stay up there. Sage Karam did a good job, but he's got Adam Blocker right behind him now for this restart. But, Sage is our first driver of the ones that did pit, so he's got a little bit of a buffer, but they've done a lot of laps under green, so they're going to go much farther than just that 54 laps. They go green from here on out.
All right, the list of cars that are now out of the race is up to 8. Let's add on to that Ken Hacker, Brian Yazik. And of course, we talked about Mark Cohn, who had the incident, a solo incident right when we went green.
Let's give a shout out to Michael Goodman there. Started 21st with that pit strategy, is now running 4th. He did have a hungry Sage Karam right behind him, but he's holding on just fine. So sometimes you got to work that. If you have a good, bad qualifying position, you got to work it somehow, and it's working out good for those 4.
Lights remain on the pace car. We will go around one more time. How about take a quick look, find ourselves a hard charger. Well, I guess I like Big Joe Hassert in 15th position. A lot of 15s associated with his name right now. I think he's racing in 15th. And he started in 30th. That means he's knocked 15 spots off of where he started.
Yeah, he did a good job, but we got to go up to, like I say, Michael Goodman started 21st, running 4th at the moment. So if my math is right, that's
better than 15, yes.
17 spots. I think that's correct. Let me get my calculator.
It was so far up the timing and scoring, I forgot to scroll up to take a peek. The Goodwin doesn't count, though. He just needed to come in and take a pit stop. That's kind of a faux charge there. Pace car is in. Let's do it again. James Garhula takes him down into the first corner. He's got Dan Guerin chasing him.
Yeah, he got a good jump off that corner. He's got a little bit of a gap to Dan Guerin. Really probably to watch is Sage Karam trying to get around Michael Goodman as he's all over. He's going to stick on the inside here as they go into turn 3, and he's got Adam Blocker right behind him. That's probably the real battle at the moment, as those guys have pitted. Not to take anything away from those guys up front, but those guys are in a little bit different pit cycle. And Sage Karam not able to get around Michael Goodman. Now he's going to try to throw it on the outside of turn 3. And he just sends it in there, gets that run, and he does make that pass. So now he's got a little bit of a space as Adam Blocker's going to try. Oh, he's going to go right on the inside of Michael Goodman. Michael Goodman's kind of just giving it up at the minute.
Karam makes that pass. The devoted boyfriend with his girlfriend watching from the other room, cheering him on. Blocker up into 5th. Goodman now under attack from Isaiah Dupree.
Yeah, Isaiah Dupree started 2nd, so he's going to try to keep touch with those guys. They've been a little bit more aggressive on the starts than he has, but he's right there, right with them. But he's got to get by Michael Goodman. He's going to try to go around the outside. And here comes Andrew Kinsella as well. He's hanging in there tight.
When the company on the side of your car is graphics, you better have a pretty slick-looking car, and it is indeed Isaiah Dupree. You know, that is really a 10th place car right now that's 7th just because that paint scheme is so fast.
Yeah, Karam just got around Brian Greeley. I just noticed that he went around the outside. So he is definitely making hay while the sun shines, and he's trying to get up front. And this is going to be, it's not good news for those guys who didn't pit, but he is definitely making the most. I think the track's probably starting to come in a little bit for him. And he's trying to keep a little bit of space to Adam Blocker as they move on, starting lap 38.
They can go 54. Let's add another 10 onto that because so many were under yellow. Let's say they can get to lap 64. So they got a ways to go. We're talking about Grahula, Guerin, Greenlee, and Goodman before they need to come in and take a stop.
Got a strong battle here for 8th between Isaiah Dupree and Andrew Kinsella. Andrew's really trying to make that move happen on the low side, but Isaiah Dupree is able to keep that momentum and stay in front of him.
Dupree, very competitive. Started on the front row. Racing back in 7th right now. Chris Lanini getting a little frisky behind Casella in that dark blue machine.
Adam Blocker has now gotten around Brian Greenlee, so now he is right behind, not right behind, but the next car in front of him is Sage Karam. Top 3 has separated themselves out from everybody else. Not much happening up there. Next battle is Brian Greenlee, Michael Goodman trying to get around him. Got some good battles in the back between Jason Robards for 14th and Damon Martinez for 13th. And everybody's just kind of stacking up. Everybody's doing a good job, just kind of just getting back up to speed, probably getting a feel for the car and the traffic. So we'll see if we can go some decent green flag runs. I want to see some green flag pit stops.
You say that, but again, you're talking for yourself and for the fans. I don't think you're talking for James Grahula or Dan Guerin, who would probably like the yellow flag to come out right about now, because I think if it did, everyone would come in.
Yeah, I think so too. They still got a good margin. They probably got a good 10, 15 laps, at least 10, maybe 15, 20 laps before they really have to pit. But I'm sure the tire wear is starting to get to him. But James Cotola is doing a good job holding off Dan Guerin by, about 0.8 of a second, who's about 0.8 of a second ahead of Sage Karam. So seems like the advantage is as with those tires have kind of worn off a little bit.
Want to check in on 5th position to just talk you through this, because I think they are coming on Brian Greenlee. And there's a lot of them coming, Brian. Michael Goodwin, Isaiah Dupree, Andrew Kinsella has been on the gearbox of Dupree for the last 15 minutes. He continues to work there. And Chris Lanini coming too, but they're all gaining on Brian Greenlee.
Yeah, once Adam Blocker got by Brian Greenlee, he's pulled out ahead. And now it's Brian Greenlee kind of leading that train. He's got Michael Goodwin, Isaiah Dupree. Surprised that Andrew has not been able to get by Isaiah Dupree. He's been working on him corner after corner after corner. And Isaiah is doing a great job. He qualified second, so he definitely has a fast car. But Andrew not able to make that move just yet.
Greenlee and Goodwin in 5th and 6th on the older sets of tires. Let's look at 9th real quick. This is Lanini and James Brandt started to be a bit of a pest.
Yeah, these guys have all been working on each other for a while. And Chris Lanini doing a good job, but James Brandt's getting a little bit impatient. It looks like he's trying to get by. They got Joe Flanagan right behind them. And go a little bit farther back, we have a good battle with Tyler Groff and Big Joe Hassert.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
Also Jason Robards.
Here comes a pass. We're going to see a pass on the track. Oh, Big Joe Hassert trying to get down there in that white and blue mosaic machine. Boy, he takes it underneath the line. He is side by side now. He's about halfway there, but he cannot get it to stick. Tyler Graff is going to hang on. Richie, we talked about him taking the downforce away. They didn't want this to be another one of those draft tracks, one of those just stay in line and then slingshot everybody. I think they got what they wished for. His passing seems to be really tough.
Yeah, I mean, it'll come into play as the tires wear out, but you can see what's cool is you can see him running different lines, high, low, mid, and it's making them really work for those passes. They're just kind of hanging out and taking a draft. So it's going to be a little frustrating if you're actually driving the car, but if you make that pass, it feels good. You just have to set it up just right.
Let's go up to 2nd position. Dandy Dan Guerin, he has been the pole sitter the last 3 times here at Phoenix. He sat in qualified this time only in 13th. Things did not go his way. But right now, Sage Karam is beginning to reel him in little by little.
And then you can see Sage Karam kind of squaring off that corner. He's going to enter high, kind of come down. It looks like Dan Guerin clipped the wall a little bit on the front straightaway, but Sage, if you watch him, he's going to go up high and kind of square it off so that when he comes off the corner, he's kind of straightening the car already, and then that aero wash doesn't come into so much of a play. And, Sage is not going to give up. He's going to keep working on it. But meanwhile, that's bringing Adam Blocker back into play.
All right. The guys who did not pit are working lap 53. It'll be 54. That's the max that they could go. So they're working on their yellow flag insurance laps right now.
Yeah, we've done a lot of yellow flags, so I'm going to assume they got about 10 laps here before they really have to pit. As Sage Karam once again is he's right on the back of Dan Guerin, and he's starting to hassle him a little bit, and he's going inside, outside, and Dan Guerin's trying to take out that lane for him.
Here's the good news for these guys. The interval is only about 18 laps or so between the distance between the stints. So they won't have to roll the dice for too many laps. Just to give you the numbers, Dan Guerin working on lap number 55 and his stint Karam lap number 37.
Yeah, but you definitely don't want to pit under green. If you pit under green, you're losing at laps. And these guys are definitely hoping for a yellow flag pretty soon.
Well, yeah, Richie, if they want a yellow flag, they want it the next couple laps, and then after they make their stop, they don't want one.
Yeah, right now, James Krula is catching up to the back of the field. It's John Hill. So this will start coming into play. And once he gets by John Hill, there's a group of about 4 cars all stacked up. So this might make it interesting for Dan Guerin and Sage Karam and allow them to catch up to James.
Good news for John Hill and Robert Blue and the cars that are about to be lapped, as I don't know how long Krahula is going to be able to stay out there before he needs to come in. And boy, Karam keeps poking in, trying to make the pass on Guerin.
He's running that high line 3 and 4. You can see him kind of squaring the corner off here. He's going to get the draft going into 1. I mean, if he wants to make it happen, he just has to drive it in and almost slide job him. And it looks like that's what he's doing right now and makes the pass as we talk about it.
I think Guerin knows he's pitting in the next few laps, that no need to fight too hard there. Here comes Walker now.
Yeah, here comes James Krula into the pits. Our leader's into the pits, so this is going to be bad news for him as he's got to take that pit under green flag. Dan Guerin stays out, so he's obviously saved a little bit more fuel. That's going to put Sage Karam, though, as leader. And Dan Guerin is coming to the pits as well.
So we're going to see Guerin, we're going to see Greenlee and Goodman come in, too. Nope.
Yeah, Goodman's
Michael's making a liar of me.
Yeah, Goodman's going to stay out. Hope for one more lap to get that yellow flag. So Sage Karam now our leader. Adam Blocker second. They are starting to get into lap traffic, so this will get interesting. Michael Goodman is now in the pit lane.
Krahula sorts out in 31st position, 1 lap down. So the question, will Krahula be faster as he gets out in front of Guerin, who just comes out of the pit? Will Krahula be faster on a full tank and fresh rubber than Karam will be on a lighter tank with old rubber?
Yeah, I haven't done much running here, so I don't know. But you're not going to be fast enough to just get back up and unlap yourself. So he's really going to need some help and just kind of work that strategy. You never know. We got a long ways to go. We only work in lap 64 of 200. But yeah, he's going to need some yellow flag help.
Krahula went to lap 62. So that means Karam has another 16 laps to go before he's going to need to come in. That's what James Krahula is trying to dodge right now. He needs 16 laps of green. Yes, that's and with fewer cars out here now, we've lost so many. We got a good chance that we're going to be able to stay green for a while. And of course, Karam has had less laps of caution on his stint. He's been racing more on green, so he might not be able to get quite as far. Oh, no! Well, Krahula didn't want a caution. But if he had to have one, he certainly didn't want to be the reason why. What happened to James? Look at it. Yep.
He just lost it on his own. Just tried to get on the gas and spun the tires up and hit that inside wall. So unfortunately, he caused his own caution. That's not going to help him because his car is pretty heavily damaged.
That's a man listening to the broadcast and trying to answer the commentator if he's going to be faster on a full tank with fresh rubber. He was trying to say, yes, I am. Pushing it a little too hard as he was racing Sage Karam, who was on the other side of the track, actually more than a lap ahead of him. Well.
And you can see James Krula in the pits. He's out of the car. He is disconnected, so he is out of the race. Too much damage. Sage Karam's coming in and leading the rest of the field, as I would probably pit with the leaders at this moment.
Everybody will come in. Now, this might not be the worst case, because I got to wrap my head around modern rules with the yellow flag here. I think Guerin will cycle up behind the pace car, and so will Goodman and Zaldo and Brian Greenlee. They'll get the wave around.
Yeah, they will.
Well, they'll end up being on the same lap, but they'll just be way in the back.
Yeah, they'll get on the lap. They'll get their lap back, but they will be a little bit different on cycle. But this is what they needed, and if they can come on in and get their tires and fuel, they'll have to start from the back. But at least they've got their lap back and just kind of start from where they were.
What we're going to do right now is take a short break. We'll be back before we go green.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
Streaming cyberspace into your place via the iRacing Esports Network. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Thumbs Up, Cancers Down Lionheart IndyCar Series. Round number 4. I might have that wrong. Might be round number 3. I got to double check on that. It is 4, from Phoenix. We are under caution on lap number 71. We are going green, working lap number 72. Sage Karam out in front. Everybody now all on the same strategy.
Yeah, pretty much a reset here. We got Karam in first, Blocker, Isaiah Dupree. Shout out to Kinsella, who's up to 4th now. He's been trying to get around Isaiah Dupree, but has not just yet. But he's moved up 3 spots. But great start from everybody. Single file restart. And we'll kind of sort it back out.
And here comes Rigney coming in for a stop. Must have made a mistake on his last stop. He wouldn't be coming in now. For fans of Dan Guerin and Brian Greenlee, they did get the wave around. They're out there for an extra about 6 laps. They're on the lead lap. They're at the back of the pack.
Yeah, strategy didn't work out for them, but they're back in sync with everybody, although they're back in 23rd spot. So they're close enough on the strategy that shouldn't be a problem. But, sometimes you got to take a chance, and it didn't work out. But we have a long ways to go. Give them a chance to get back up there.
Look at that battle that just keeps going on. Poor Habaketch. Andrew Kinsella has been behind Isaiah Dupree for 75 laps, it seems like. He just cannot get around him.
No, he's been trying the high line, the low line. He just can't quite get around him. And it's not, it's still early in the race, so you don't have to get desperate, and you just kind of keep poking your nose in there, and hopefully the driver in front makes a mistake. But yeah, Andrew's now trying the high line, but he just can't quite get around him just yet.
Look at that battle. Let's jump you back to another. Don't mean to jump you around so much, but this is a fun one. We're going to 9th position. Car number 26, Tyler Graff. He's got Big Joe Hassard behind him and Jason Robards as they race for 9th.
Yeah, we got a big pack of cars here. We got Tyler Graff, Big Joe, Jason Robards, Christopher, Bobby Mikas, Ryan Carey, all these guys racing for that top 10 position. But once again, passing is at a premium. It does look like they can run right behind each other, but they just can't quite make the move. And here comes Andrew Kinsella. He looks like he's on the inside of Isaiah Dupree as they go down the front stretch, but Isaiah's able to keep that momentum. But I think Andrew, I thought he was going to get him, but not quite.
Uh-oh. Trouble. It's Ryan Corns. I think it starts with Paul Jenkins, actually. It does. Yeah, Paul Jenkins gets into Ron Hacker. Corns collects him. Three cars involved.
Oh, yeah, we got a couple of cars getting wadded up here, going on their lid. Yep, there's Ryan on the outside, and they just kind of get collected here.
Yeah, that's Jenkins. That's Jenkins on the outside that gets loose and comes down. Yeah, and comes down into Ron Hacker. Hacker ends up on his lid. Jenkins will be able to drive the car away. This will be fun. Let's not only stay on this. Let's stay on this for a while. I guess the car didn't go over. Okay.
Yeah, Jenkins just kind of noses it in. He takes his front wing off. He'll be able to get that fixed. As long as the steering wheel is going straight, he'll be able to get that fixed and get back out.
All right, listen to me now. If you are Dan Guerin in the back, come on, Dan, come on in. There's no reason for you to stay out there right now. Some of the guys are listening. Goodman's coming in. Goodman heard me.
It's coming in. And looks like
under yellow for the umpteenth time. I have a clipboard here that I was keeping track of these, but I honestly ran out of paper space.
all right, so I was watching there. I saw Adam Blocker thinking about pitting and stayed out.
So, Richie, this track, although probably not in this configuration, was on your schedule, right? When you were racing IndyCars for real?
No, it was this schedule. It was this configuration.
Was
the
it?
only difference is on the dog leg, they didn't have it all paved out. It was just grass. So there was no option to go below that yellow line. It was either the track or grass. So, but the rest of the track was the same. Super fast track, but fun to race on, but very sensitive to how your car was set up. If you had a good car set up for this track, you were fast. If you did not, you were hanging on for dear life.
Are there tracks that drivers like to go to not because of the track, but just because of the venue? I mean, I don't know. Do you get excited to race at Cleveland? I mean, or is that really your guys are so focused on where you're going that's all that matters?
No, it's not true. I mean, you go Long Beach Grand Prix, and that's an event, right? It's not just a race. Cleveland was, I never liked Cleveland, but I just didn't like racing on an airport. But yeah, there's definitely places that you like to go to, and just, not just about how you did, but just the event itself. And usually the street courses were more exciting because there's just more going on. Oval races are usually out in the middle of nowhere, but back in the heyday when IndyCar raced here, I mean, the stands were packed, and it was a big deal. Same thing with Milwaukee. That place was packed. I hated that track, but it was a lot of fun to go there. And just some events were better than others as far as the participation of the fans.
I'm glad to hear my hometown there in Long Beach was someplace you guys like to go.
How can you not like going there? There's a bunch of girls in bikinis. The beach is right there, and it was awesome.
Preaching to the choir. I would actually ride my bicycle, my 10-speed to that. I was that close. It's in my hometown. We're going green. Working lap number 84. Richie Hearn, a former real-world IndyCar driver. Sage Karam. He drives them for real. Look for him in the Indy 500 this year right now. Uh-oh. Big Joe Hassard. Nobody collects him. I think everybody gets by as he turns it completely around. Oh my goodness, this might be a fun onboard from Big Joe Hassard as he'll see the entire field come by him on left and right.
Yeah, he just kind of goes through turn 1 and 2. The problem with turn 2 is it tightens up, so you're really trying to get on the power, but you got a lot of steering input. So if those tires are not warmed up, that's what's going to happen. But unfortunately, nobody hit him as we're watching on board with him at the moment. So
as it comes around.
Yeah, you just kind of get down to the bottom and try to get on the gas. And
there goes Gonzalo Lickerman, Ryman Hassard, there's Jacobs, Grigney, Flo. Okay. I got them all wrong, but you got the idea.
So yellow flag's back out, but Big Joe's going to be able to continue on.
Hey, let's go ahead and bring in Jason Galvin here. He's going to talk about his charity and the sponsor of this race. Jason, you have a copy?
I got you, Soup. How you doing?
All right. Very good. Tell us about your charity. I love this charity.
I appreciate that. I do too, obviously. Thumbs Up Cancer Down is a charity based out of Bakersfield in Central California, where I'm from. I got on board with it when I was working at the TV station out here, of course, Wakey Wakey Bakey, and the morning weather guy, Kevin Charette, had started this along with Cody Brutleg, and it's kind of blossomed. It started as a support group, just with pictures, and we had Kevin Harvick and all sorts of celebrities sending pictures in with thumbs up to kind of be a support group for people battling cancer. And everybody got together, and Cody and Kevin said, what can we do? What can we do for the patients? And there's so many great organizations that raise money for research, and so many organizations that help financially with people who are going through treatment. So they created this bag called a Power Up Pack, and you can go to thumbsupcancerdown.com and see all about them. They have different items in them that people going through cancer could use. A beanie and a blanket that's designed to not irritate your skin. A phone charger, like a wireless one, hand sanitizer, the bag itself, a journal to keep track of how things are going. Just a great deal, and we've had so many people tell us, this bag is a constant reminder that there are people out there who care and who are thinking about us, and it's true. So I love everything about it, and I'm so proud that Lionheart and my team, Loud Pedal Motorsports, have kind of adopted Thumbs Up as much as they have this year.
If you've ever stayed in a hospital, or if you've ever had to visit somebody, you cannot underestimate the importance of those little things. It seems so simple, but a blanket that is comfortable, a blanket that, or a beanie, especially for cancer patients, those go a long way.
They do. And I think most of us, unfortunately, know somebody who's had to deal with and fight cancer. And so they know just how far those little things can go. And they matter. And they're things that you probably don't think about because nobody, you got an earthquake kit, right? You learn about that in school. You learn about, having a survival kit. If you need to evacuate, you live in a wildfire or flood land. Nobody has a cancer beating kit, right? So that's what I love about this. So we donate them for free to all the cancer treatment centers in Bakersfield. We have teenage packs and kids packs as well that are going out to the children's hospitals throughout Central and Southern California now. And they're free. They get handed out to the patients. It's a great deal. So if anybody out there feels touched, thumbsupcancerdown.com, once again, is the website. You can go on there and actually sponsor one of these packs so that a patient or patients can actually get them. So I appreciate you guys giving us the time here. Great race so far. Sorry that I screwed up the first lap there. No idea what happened. First time that's happened. Car just went around. So
yeah, when you sponsor the race, try not to crash on the first lap.
Hey, did I make the broadcast?
Yeah, you did, buddy.
Okay.
We got your plug in there. All right, good luck down the way. All right, we're gonna go green. Jason Galvin. Check him out tomorrow. He'll be doing the commentary for this Lionheart. Well, it won't be this week. It'll be next week. All right, the fans are rowdy here at the Global Sim Racing Channel. Get out of the broadcast booth, you guys. Sage Karam leads them down into the first corner. Brian Yosick is in. No, that's Blocker in second. I apologize. Dupree in third. Hey, look at this. Dupree, he's lost his wingman. Where the heck is Kinsella? He's long gone. We'll have to check See what happened to Andrew.
No, he pitted. He pitted under that, so he's on a different cycle now.
There you go.
So he is down in 14th spot, but he has definitely got some laps in hand with those guys. So he took a little different strategy, got tired of following Isaiah.
Yep.
And here we go. Caution's out.
Paul Jenkins, right in front of Robert Bluen, gets to the outside, goes around him. Jenkins doesn't hit anything, so I think he's going to live to race another lap.
That's the second time he's going to live to race another lap. So he got his front wing fixed from the last accident. And another yellow flag, but we're just going to re-rack him.
All right, so let's follow up on what happened there to Andrew Kinsella. He did come in and take a stop. Now, Andrew Kinsella and Michael Goodwin, they came in as soon as that caution came out. They've been out there for 10 laps. They're racing down, whereas Kinsella back in 14th. There's another group of guys that are about 5 laps fresher tire behind him, led by Dustin Wardlow. And then you got the top 13 drivers. That includes Dan Guerin. Now, remember when we went to that yellow flag, I was telling Guerin to come in. He didn't want to do that, but Goodwin decided he would come in.
Yeah, just a little different strategy. I think as we get going here, we're kind of thinning out the field with some of these wrecks. I think we might see some long runs, and we'll kind of keep an eye on Andrew Kinsella, see how that plays out, because he's definitely has some buffer as far as fuel goes. I don't think tires are a big deal, as we see these guys running fairly quickly, even on low fuel. So I think it's more going to become to that fuel mileage strategy.
We're getting to the point now. We're at 92. God, I'm going to do math here, but that is 108. That's 54. This is real close to these guys who just stopped. To be able to one-stop this with all the caution flags going on, I know Karam and Blocker are not going to be able to one-stop this.
No, and that's assuming we go green the whole way, which is not going to happen, but what that does for Andrew Kinsella is just opens up the window so he can hang out there a little longer in case a yellow does come. And if these guys have to pit under green, he's going to catch them all a lap down. So I don't think it's going to be like that where like, oh, you're going to calculate, well, I only have to make one more stop, but it's just about being able to stop when the yellow comes out, not when you have to.
Well, some guys that are coming in a lap down to make that topping off. We have seen races like this before, though, that are yellow fests early on. We lose a lot of drivers, the herd thins, and then we get to the halfway point, and all of a sudden it's a green flag to the end. So while I'm with Richie on this one, I don't expect us to go green all the way. We've seen it happen.
It's definitely possible. I've been proven wrong many, many times, but I just don't see that as being a reality.
Yeah.
But having Andrew pit, and he didn't go down too far. He's down in 12th now. It does open just that window of just having the time to do it.
Guys who just topped off, names to remember. Chris Stouffer. Is Stouffer on the lead lap? Was he able to get that done? I believe so. Mikas is coming in to top off. These are guys that are looking for a green flag all the way. Coming in, topping off, staying on the lead lap.
I mean, we did see a surprise winner last week, which is same thing. So you just never know. When you're the leader like Sage is, you're kind of stuck to that strategy. When you're a little bit farther back, you can open it up a little bit. So we'll just kind of see how it plays out.
24 cars, according to my timing and scoring. It might be more than that on the lead lap. I'll double check, make sure that is correct. As they cycle through. What's the pace car looking right now? Are we going green here? Pace car is in. We are going green. Working lap number 95. 105 to go. Go ahead, Rich.
I was just going to say, Sage gets a nice clean start. Hopefully everybody kind of keeps it cool for a few laps to get the tires up to temp. And we can get that green flag running going.
Big mover up. We really haven't talked about him. He's 7th in line right there. You see him. That is Damon Martinez. Again, a newcomer. Doesn't get a lot of attention. Here's Jason Robards coming in. Now, this one doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless he had to, like, serve some type of penalty.
Yeah, you're only coming in at this point if either you forgot to fuel the car or you're serving a penalty. Sage Karam doing a good job getting out front. He's got about a half a second gap on Adam Blocker. He's got a little bit of a space to Isaiah Dupree, and then right behind Isaiah, he's got a hungry group of guys. Lanini, Brandt, Flanagan, Martinez, Groff, Guerin, and then right behind them is Andrew Kinsella, who's up to 10th now.
But the Blocker doing a good job staying with Karam.
Yeah, I mean, all Andrew, Blocker needs to do is just kind of mirror him. He doesn't need to push the envelope. Just kind of mirroring him. Don't let him get too far ahead. Maybe wait till... Oh, caution's out again.
Oh, Jenkins again. Now, let's see if Paul was oh, no. Paul lost it one more time. Paul's not making any friends here.
Nah, you know, if you're causing that many cautions, people are getting a little bit disappointed, but, you know, sometimes stuff happens.
Yeah. It's a tough setup. He's trying to figure it out, but the meat machine gets stuck in the wall. He backs it out. Look at Mike is doing a good job of getting that car off the fence there.
Unfortunately, when someone does make a mistake, there's not a lot of room to get away, but man, ooh, he does just sneak by. Does get up on the wall though, but is able to back up. You know, if he doesn't have too much damage to the suspension, he'll be able to get in and get that wing pit. Now, interesting note, Karam's in, Blocker stayed out. Everybody else is in, but Blocker is out, and that's going to put Andrew Kinsella in second place. So this will really be interesting to see how this plays out.
100 to go. You had to come in here. You can one stop it now.
Yeah, if I was Adam, I probably would have just followed Sage in, but now we've got a split setting here. Andrew Kinsella is going to move him right up to second place.
Missing the stall up front. There was Karam is out quickly. I think it was maybe Guerin or Dupree. It looked like it was Isaiah Dupree. Richie, I hate to play Monday morning quarterback, but I having a hard time figuring out what Adam Blocker and Kinsella are doing here.
Well, Kinsella has that. He has a little bit more space than Andrew or Adam has as far as opening. He pitted earlier, but I mean, Sage pitted. I probably would have just followed him in and just kind of stayed with him at this point. But maybe Adam thinks, like, if I can't get by him on the track, I'm going to have to work a different system. And we got a long ways to go. We got 98 laps, so anything can happen.
Okay, there's a shot. We're working here with 100 and lap 102, right? So that means there are 98 to go. Kinsella is out there for 20 laps right now, 21 laps. For the simple, let's call it 120 laps he'll have to put in. That's a 60-lap stint. He might be able to one stint with enough yellow flags. He might be thinking I can do it on one as well.
Yeah,
I
think you're right.
I don't think people are going to pit now unless they... Boy, it'd be hard to pit if you didn't need to.
Yeah, I'm going with Sage Karam's strategy right now. I mean, he pitted. He's all set up, and it only put him back into 11th. So, you know, unless he gets caught up in somebody else's mess, he's going to make his way up to the front. And like you're talking about, as we thin the field out, sometimes we see these long green flag runs, and that could be bad news for Andrew or Adam Blocker, even Andrew, although Andrew has a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, I think Kinsella's got a real shot at it. I don't see any way Blocker is going to get to the end, but, you know, who knows? Everybody else should be good to go. So where did Karam sort out to? Well, he's back in 10th.
Yeah. back in
For
10th,
now.
but I'm only showing 25 cars out there.
Yeah.
So it's thinned out quite a bit. So we could be getting some green flag runs if these guys can just get warmed up a little bit.
Blocker, Kinsella, Wardlow, Branch, Stouffer. Kinsella's just happy not to be behind Dupree anymore. That's
Right? He's probably got tired of that, so he just gonna pit.
all right. Let's go racing. We're gonna go 104 when we go green. The blue and black car of Adam Blocker down into corner number 1.
It's a nice run off the corner. Nice clean start. He is watching Sage Karam, how greedy he will be at the beginning, or how careful he'll be, knowing that he's on a little different strategy.
Passing is tough, so watching Karam make his way through will be interesting. Can we quickly jump down to that would be like 4th position, side by side? That is Branch on the inside. Stouffer, Richie, trying to get it done.
Yeah, I was just watching that, and Joe Branch is running the inside line. Christopher running the outside line. Can't quite get it done, but they're also bringing Big Joe Hasser, who had an issue earlier, spun out, but didn't get hit by anybody. He has now made his way back up to 6th spot as Joe Branch does get that pass done. Sorry, Christopher gets that pass done. Yeah, Christopher gets it done, and that's bringing along Big Joe trying to make that move as well.
Hassler saw it done on the outside, so he'll try it as well. Brian Carey, the rookie, the very fast rookie, in fact, sitting well up in the rookie standings, sitting back there in 7th. He's going to try to go around the outside as soon as Hazard gets this negotiated.
Sage Karam, got really close to Greg West, trying to make that move, but he does make that pass.
Oh, no!
Oh, and there's contact. Brian Greenlee gets into the
Greenlee.
side. Yeah, he gets into the back of Greg West, and he tried to follow Sage Karam right through that and just got in a little hot, and unfortunately it's going to cause a caution. You can see Sage gets really close right there, and Brian Greenlee's like, hey, I can get in here and take that, but he just washes up. Fortunately, Greg West keeps going straight. No big damage, but it does cause a caution flag.
Greenlee did back the car into the wall with a pretty good thunk. There you hear it. This is good news for Blocker. Blocker is short. He needs yellows and then more yellows and then more yellows after that.
Yeah, this is going to help Andrew Kinsella a lot because he's working 27 laps on his last pit stop, but Adam's working 40. So, Adam, honestly, I'm surprised he hasn't pitted. So he's really hoping for another yellow flag in about 10 laps or so.
All right, we're going to take another short break here, streaming your way on the iRacing Esports Network on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back before we go green. Don't go far.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
This is the Lionheart IndyCar series streaming your way on the iRacing eSports Network, brought to you here on the Global Sim Racing channel. It's lap 112 of round 4, 112 of 200. There have been a lot of yellow flags. Adam Blocker is out in front. We don't know if he can get there on one stop. We'll find out soon enough. We're about to go green. Andrew Kinsella, we think, is good to go with one stop from here. The car to watch is Sage Karam. He's fastest, but he's got some traffic to work on. Here we go. Working lap 113 now.
Yeah, nice start by Adam Blocker, getting a good run off the corner. Andrew Kinsella is getting a good run off of 2, though. He is right behind him. And these guys are checking out a little bit as Andrew Kinsella is looking to the high side going into 3. Sage Karam working on these groups in front of him.
Yeah, he just got Brian Carey.
Brian Carey. So Sage Karam making hay while the sun shines there. And he's the one that is really looking good as far as pit strategy goes, because he pitted way back quite a while ago. So he's leading that pack as far as the early pit stops.
That dark car is Isaiah Dupree. He's on the inside. The one with the momentum is Brian Carey. Dupree could not get that done. This has been a great race from Dupree. Boy, they are really bottled up here in 9th position. Meanwhile, while that's going on, Karam is getting really close to getting he's got a smorgasbord of cars in front of him to feed on.
Yeah, he's getting a good run on Joe Branch there. He just kind of sneaks up right underneath him in the kink. He's got that pass made, so move up another spot for Sage Karam up to 6th spot. Next one up is going to be Big Joe. Let's give a shout out to Dustin Wardlow, doing a great job in 3rd spot. Started 6th, but he's run a clean race so far. Christopher running in 4th, started 27th. Big Joe started 30th. Those guys in the top 5 working that strategy to its finest, but they've got a hungry Sage Karam coming up behind him.
Yeah, Karam is on the move. There should be one more stop for everybody, maybe 2 for Adam Blocker, but I think every yellow flag makes him smile a little bit more.
Yeah, the problem for Adam Blocker is he's working lap 50, and if he doesn't get a yellow flag, he's going to have to pit, whereas everybody else has a little bit more of a buffer to wait for that yellow flag. So, Adam's kind of, put his cards on the table, and he's hoping he gets that card on the river, basically.
Pretty much. Blocker out in front. How many times have we seen Adam Blocker and Andrew Kinsella race next to each other in one order or the other? The Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, doing really good in 3rd. There's Dustin Wardlow.
And now 25 cars still on the track. We have 21 cars on the lead lap as Samuel Ryman is our last car running on the lead lap. He's been doing a good job, just kind of staying on that lead lap, pitting every time, taking fuel. So, his window's pretty much wide open as well. And he's probably hoping we're going to get some green flag stops, and that'll move him right up the order.
man, that camera shot just makes me want to tuck my head down into my shoulders.
Adam Blocker and Kinsella just holding steady. Really not much happening in the top three. Christopher doing a good job.
Oh no! Greg West out of one, right on the front straight in front of the fans that paid the big ticket prices.
You know what? Who helps us the most is Adam Blocker.
Yep, he's loving it.
He is stoked right now. That saved him a lot because he's probably getting pretty close to making that green flag stop. And there you go. There's the replay. Greg West right up on the inside wall. And fortunately, he didn't collect anybody else, but that's going to be the end of his day.
Okay, there are 75 laps to go as we watch the replay. I don't think Blocker can afford to come in now. I think he's got to wait to get in the window before he comes in.
I don't know if he has enough fuel. I think he has to come in. If he waits any longer, he's going to make a green flag stop. He's just going to have to eat it, take the stop, move to the back of the pack, and work his way back up. He just didn't work out for him. But yeah, here they come. Him and Andrew. Everybody else is staying out, so they'll move him to the back of the pack, and won't be too bad. I mean, they'll move him back a couple of spots.
If there's an advantage to this, if there are green flag pit stops, at least theirs will be a little bit shorter, although the fuel goes in pretty quick. Everybody else is going to stay out now. They've been out there a long time. They're just trying to get to the window where they can do it on one stop.
Yeah, those guys have enough space that they can probably wait to that point, whereas Adam Blocker did not. He had to pit. I'm surprised that Andrew Kinsella came in. He had some space to play, but take that stop and maybe it goes green. You never know.
Okay, our producers were prepared for this scenario if we ended up with a yellow fest like we have right now. We come with multiple forms of entertainment. If the racing is not suiting you, we have a game you can play. There you go. Mark this down. We will follow this along as it's a GSRC bingo. We're going to circle the things that we said here today. Bad math. Certainly we've done that one.
Yeah, we did do that.
As you can see, our director looking through the... I did not say boogie. No, that's no boogie, but I did say the chickens. Is the chickens on that one, or do we not have gather up the chickens? Not melted or roosted? No? Okay. There we go. Take cover behind the cows. All right. Well, we've done that one. Commentator's curse. There we go. All right. So I'll do my best to see if I can get somebody a bingo. Remember, that middle one's wild.
I'll tell you what, that gap in David Letterman's teeth, that's going to be a hard one.
Oh, I didn't know that was there. I'll get that one in. Okay. We need to update that one. That one's been put on the back burner. All right, here we go. Oh, the pace of the lights are still on. All right, well, let's get down to some business here. Let's think this out. You got Wardlow on a 40-lap stint, so he's going to have to come in sooner than anybody else. The rest of these guys will be coming in. They're like anywhere between 30 and 25.
Yeah, Dustin Wardlow and Big Joe Hassert, they're both working lap 41, 42 from the last stop. So they probably got a good 10, 15 lap window. So they can hang out there for a little bit, but they're going to be hoping for something soon.
All the way down to 12th spot, Michael Goodwin. These are guys that are kind of risking it. They're kind of risking that if the yellow doesn't come right, they're going to have to make a green flag stop, which wouldn't be horrible if it stays green the whole way, because everyone will have to make a green flag stop. Guys that will have to pit twice, we think. Blocker, Kinsella, Branch, and Zaldo Limkeman. They're way at the back.
Yeah, they're going to have to pit twice unless they get a healthy dose of yellow flags. Sage Karam sitting in fourth, but he's looking pretty good at the moment.
We go green. 12:05 Eastern Time on a Thursday morning. Dustin Wardlow, Christopher, Joe Branch, Sage Karam making his way up through the field. He was 10th a while ago. He's now up to 4th. And
Yeah,
he's going to make quick work of Big Joe Hazard.
Oh, man, he got a really great run off of 3 and 4. Big Joe went wide, looked like he got a little hot, had to get out of it. And Sage almost ran into the back of him coming out of turn 4, but still not quite able to make that pass. Right behind them, Brian Carey fighting off Chris Lini very, very strongly. And you got a whole group of cars right behind Brian Carey, pretty hungry to get forward. And that's going to include our former leaders, Adam Blocker. He's going to have to be careful to get up there, but he's out there on fresh tires going right around Brian Greenlee at the moment, who's a lap down.
When we look down there.
I was going to say, one thing I didn't mention, we didn't catch, is that and Andrew Kinsella actually got ahead of Adam Blocker. It must have happened in the pit stops as they came in the reverse order. They got Michael Goodwin in between them, so Andrew Kinsella doing a good job trying to make his way.
Stouffer has had an issue. Let's see if we can find it. I heard somebody sliding. And we think maybe Stouffer and Brian Carey. We'll see if we can see this one.
Looks like, yeah, they got in together here, and looks like Big Joe and Brian Christopher got together and kind of sends Christopher into a little bit of a drift mode. Doesn't hit anything, but it's going to allow Big Joe and almost an accident behind him, but it's going to allow Sage Karam to get behind him.
That was Chris Lanini who was able to sneak by. So what does that mean? That means P2. That means Sage Karam now has Hazard, and Karam has got him. Karam's got the pass made.
Yeah, Karam has made his way from that early pit stop all the way back up to second place. Dustin Wardlow is going to have to pit very soon. He's working lap 49. But Sage Karam's got, 17 laps on him on fuel. So Sage Karam's kind of got the field in hand at the moment. If we go green the whole way, he's going to be pretty easy going.
Everybody needs to stop again. What Wardlow wants right now is the yellow flag to come out. I think he's got about another, I'm going to give him 15 laps. I think that's what he's got in him. He needs a yellow flag in the next 15 laps, or he's going to have to come in. If he doesn't get a yellow flag in the next 15 laps, then he wants this thing to go green the whole way, so everybody has to pit under green. The problem is, not only does he have to worry about the yellow flag, he has to worry about pace. He's at 2 seconds up on Sage Karam.
Got a big mess back here with Andrew Kinsella trying to get around Brian Greenlee, who's lapped down, but he's got a whole bunch of guys, Damon Martinez, all over the back of him, racing for that 8th spot. So far, Adam Blocker, he has not been able to keep up with Andrew. He's lost a couple spots to Martinez and James Brandt. They're starting to get a little bit nuts back here for that 8th, 9th, 10th position. As Adam Blocker's trying to go around, looks like Joe Flanagan? Oh, Brandt. Yep, Joe Brandt. Or James Brandt, sorry. Dustin Wardlow did a great job. He's pulled out gap of 2 seconds on Sage Karam, so obviously tires are not a problem, but he's starting to sweat a little bit. He's working lap 54 for green flag stops, or green flag laps. And like you said, he's probably got another 10 laps in hand. He's begging for a yellow flag very soon. Sage Karam out in second spot. He's got a healthy gap over Big Joe. He's got a pretty good gap over Chris Linney. Not much happening in the top 5. I say Dupree hanging in there, starting second, hanging in the top 5. Really the biggest battle is going to be back there with Adam Blocker, James Brown. Got an accident. We got Brian Greenlee getting tipped. And a big block on the straightaway. Yellow flag is going to be coming out. And this is going to change everything.
Oh, Brandt had a big run. And just kind of, I think he's put it in the back of Joe Flanagan, if I'm looking at the right one here. Yep. Oh, my goodness. There was a lot of people involved in that one.
Yeah, he just kind of spun right in the middle of the track and then just kind of blocked it for everybody.
Look at it again. Flanagan gets punted by Brandt. There you see that.
Yep. And
Brian Carey clips him going by. Guerin tries to squeeze in up on the wall. There's no room. Makes contact. Here's Guerin trying to go by.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Dan Guerin. That's kind of the risk you take when you pit out a sequence and get in the back. Could get caught in something like this. Meanwhile, Dustin Wardlow is pitting. Also, Sage
He's
Guerin.
a happy man.
Basically, the whole field's pitting right now, and that's going to put everybody back on the same lap.
Was the yellow flag that the Candyman needed. Now, the problem is he's going to need more fuel than the rest of these guys. He's going to be hard-pressed to get in and out ahead of anybody. He was first in.
Yeah, he might lose a couple of spots, but a lot less than he would have lost if it was under green. But this is pretty much going to – all that pit strategy is going to go out the window. Everybody's going to be on the same cycle.
There they go. Who is first out? It's Dustin Wardlow.
Although he might have short pitted it. He might have short pitted for that reason, but he definitely comes out in front of Big Joe, who beats Sage Karam out, surprisingly.
Big Joe has to come down. Everybody took enough fuel to go, what would it be? I guess 37 laps. But you would have to figure that Wardlow would have needed more than everybody because he'd been out there longer, but it still works out. The Candyman, not only does it get good news, but it gets even better news is that he has Hazard as a blocker between him and maybe the fastest car on the track, Sage Karam. So, holy moly.
I went back and watched Sage's pit stop. He was a little deep. He had to back up. So he couldn't take that advantage of the shorter fuel, but he comes out in third. So, not really too bad. Just loses one spot.
And with passing being so difficult here, this is where Dustin Wardlow can use a little racecraft and see if he can hold off those guys that are going to be coming, if he can't drive away from them.
So we have, 56 laps left. Everybody should be able to make it, right? Am I doing bad math again?
No, I was using horrible math. This will be a stretch. I think, yeah.
But you know what? Under yellow, you kind of get 2 laps for 1, basically. So, if we stay green the whole way, that'd be awesome. I don't expect it, but pretty much it's going to be a straight up fight at this moment. Everybody's on the same strategy, so there's nothing to figure out. We're just going to just race and just see what happens.
They said they could go 54. That was the top end of it. We really haven't seen anybody on a green flag run, so we really don't know what a green flag sit is. We've seen drivers go as far as 64, but that was because so many were under yellow. So,
when it's this close, if you just lift a little bit here and there, you can gain a lap or 2 pretty easily. So I don't expect to be a problem for anybody.
These are fixed setups, so they don't get to play with the fuel mix. They got to do it old school. All the little buttons and sliders are locked in position. Blocker in 6th. A very quiet Damon Martinez in 7th. That poor guy just doesn't get any love from the commentators. All right. We're looking at a 54-lap sprint to the end.
Let's keep it green, guys.
Yep.
Sage Karam gets an awesome jump on start on Big Joe. He's looking inside, outside. Sage Karam is going to go on the inside in turn 3. He's going to get that pass done, I think, pretty quickly. And his sights are set. Ooh, he chops off the nose of Big Joe coming off of turn 4, but he's setting his sights on Dustin Wardlow. His closest competitor as far as earlier on, Adam Blocker down in 6th spot. He has gotten ahead of Andrew Kinsella, who just made that move in the pit stop. But right now, Sage Karam looking good.
The interval between Wardlow and Karam, 0.6 of a second. We'll watch that.
Yeah, and I want to give some love to Dustin Wardlow. I mean, I say that Sage Karam's, looking good, but Dustin Wardlow qualified 6th, so he's got the speed, and he's going to have to make Sage Karam work for it. If it was me, I'd make that car as wide as possible. These laps are going to tick down pretty quickly as we, if we stay green.
20 cars on the lead lap. Wardlow doing a pretty good job of maintaining the interval.
Yeah, Sage at this point just kind of maintain that interval. I think we'll still get into some lap cars. If we stay green, that might play some part, but I think everybody's just kind of single file. You can see them all spread out. We do have a good battle there on screen between Kinsella, Stouffer. You can see behind, out of Andrew Kinsella's car, behind him.
There goes Martinez underneath. You saw, oh, careful, boys. Your car saw Kinsella go around the top side and get that pass made as he moves up into 6th. Next on his hit list will be Adam Blocker. That's a tall order.
Yeah, I would assume those guys would work together to try to get back to the front. You have some good drivers up there holding those positions. Chris Lanini and Big Joe. Obviously, Dustin Wardlow and Sage Karam.
The Candyman out in front. Not only holding the gap, he's actually increased the gap a little bit by 1/10 of a second on Karam. 49 to go. But again, fuel is going to be very, very tight. This may be a case of being able to, you need to go fast enough to win, but slow enough to finish.
Yeah, basically the way you do that is just kind of lift a little early, coast through the corner, but you got to do it for multiple laps to make any kind of impact on a track this short. So it might be something that Sage Karam's doing. He's happy in second, just kind of saving that fuel. Do have a great battle here with Brian Carey for 9th. Isaiah Dupree, who started 2nd, and unfortunately he's found himself back in 10th spot. He didn't see what happened. He was running a little farther up than that, but he's struggling to get back up into that top group.
Once he lost his wingman of Andrew Kinsella, he started to fall down the pack a little bit. Anybody back there, Soup, you got to watch out that might be sneaky? I don't see anybody, guys.
Right now, we got probably the best battle is Joe Branch, Tyler Graff for 12th and 13th. Joe is trying to go around the outside of Tyler. Tyler's trying to go outside of Joe, excuse me. And can't quite get it done. Got to give a shout out to Sammy Ryman. He started 38th, running 15th. He's worked that pit running in the back, just fueling. He's worked his way all the way up. And he's kind of looking for a good finish here if we keep going this way.
Wardlow continues to mind the gap.
Yeah, not much happening up front, although Andrew Kinsella is starting to get a little heat from Chris Stouffer. He hasn't been able to make any inroad into add a blocker, but Andrew might be working on that fuel mileage as well. But he's got Chris Stouffer right on the back of him, and that's bringing David Martinez up to him as well.
All right, I'm going to do a little psychology here, get into the helmet of Dustin Wardlow. I don't believe Wardlow is faster than Karam. I just don't. I think Karam should be able to run him down. I got a hunch Wardlow knows he doesn't have enough fuel. I think Karam is saving. I think Wardlow's going to have to stop again. Him being able to get out first on that pit stop, something just seems fishy in Denmark to this commentator.
I think he's going to make it, actually, and this might go into our GSRC makes a bad strategy position. But, Sage Karam, he lost that spot because he missed his pit spot, so he had to back up. But I think right now Sage is kind of mirroring him. They're both kind of saving fuel, waiting to get to that point where they're good to go. Because, like you said, I think it's close. I do think Sage Karam's probably a little bit faster, but Dustin qualified 6th, so he was only a couple tenths behind him. So we'll see what happens. I think we'll get into some lap traffic, and that might change things. But I think he's good to go. I think it's going to make Sage earn it.
The Candyman knows that I love him. I didn't mean to downplay his talents, but my good, he's driving away from Sage Karam right now. This commentator's not buying it.
Let's give a big shout out to Big Joe, right? Started 30th, running a solid 3rd, not by accident. You know, he's had some close calls in the race. He did spin out and didn't hit anybody, but got going. But he's made his way up to third spot, so he's on the same strategy as everybody else. So he is right there. Chris Lanini holding fourth. Adam Blocker, a pole sitter, holding fifth. Not really much happening up front. I think right now you're seeing the group up front just kind of managing that fuel stint. Nothing really trying very hard.
All right, now passing is at a premium, and as we look at this battle for I guess would be ninth position with Kerry out in front. Now, it's hard to make an argument that yellow flags make the race exciting, but I honestly, take the yellow flags away. I personally, as a fan, don't mind this racing where passing is at a premium. It's for me, it's the difference of watching a baseball game of 4-3 or a basketball game 143 to 141. When we have those draft tracks, the passing really doesn't mean anything. Right now, boy, if you can make a pass, that's a significant accomplishment.
No, I absolutely agree, and that's why I kind of disagree with the stage racing in NASCAR.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a constant passing show. You got to show the talents of the drivers, and sometimes it may not be a lot of passes, but when they do, you appreciate it. So I absolutely agree. I think it's a good race. May not be, it's tough to pass, and these guys are working hard. They're not just cruising around. But when it's just a draft fest, there's not a lot of skill in that. It's just a chess match.
Hassard in third. There's a nice battle. There's Limpkeman back in 14th. He's got himself some work to do. Ryman back in 15th. Greenlee still out there. 19 cars on the lead lap.
I think what we're seeing right now is everybody's on the same pit strategy, really close on fuel. So everybody's just kind of cruising around. It's starting to back up a little bit with Chris Lanini, Adam Blocker, and Andrew Kinsella. Andrew Kinsella's tightened himself right up to the back of Adam. But I don't think you're going to see anybody really start racing hard till they know they're good on the fuel part of it.
You know, again, to talk about Wardlow and Karam, being tight on fuel almost plays into, again, assuming that Karam is faster than Wardlow, it almost plays into Wardlow's advantage, where Karam can't maybe afford to race at 100%. It kind of levels the playing field here. And again, I hear the... Go ahead.
I think it's for everybody. I was just going to say, I think everybody just kind of just managing the gap, not really doing anything crazy, just kind of waiting to get to a point where they're good to go, and then we'll start seeing it. But I could be wrong, but you're kind of looking through the field here, and everybody's just running about the same pace. Nothing too exciting. Although here we go. Adam Blocker's making a move on Chris Lanini. As I say that proves me wrong. And Adam Blocker moved him up to fourth spot. That's maybe going to bring Andrew Kinsella as well.
Here's the pass.
Adam goes up high, squares it off, gets into the draft, gets a good run, takes the position. And as we say that, also Andrew Kinsella is now going around the outside of Chris Lanini. So Chris Lanini is struggling with something at the moment as those guys move forward and he moves back.
We look at the pass that just happened.
Yeah. Adam goes on the inside of Chris, and Andrew goes on the outside. So right now, Chris Lanini's struggling a little bit with his car, maybe trying to find a groove that he's happy with. But move those two up.
All right, I am telling you right now, friends, families, boys and girls, cats and dogs, something is fishy. Wardlow continues to open up on Sage Karam. Two things are happening. You tell me which one makes more sense. Dustin Wardlow is faster than Sage Karam. Dustin Wardlow knows he doesn't have enough fuel to get to the end, and he's racing at 100% because he knows he has to make one more pit stop. That's what I think is happening as they start to come up on lap traffic.
Yeah, Big Joe's starting to fall into the clutches of Adam Blocker. So Adam Blocker and Andrew Kinsella, maybe they figured they're good to go on fuel and they're starting to pedal down.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to move forward as some of these guys are starting to fall back. But yeah, Dustin Wardlow doing a good job. He's got 0.8 of a second on Sage Karam. We're getting close to the end, 22 to go. We'll see how it plays out if they do go green, whether Dustin was proving you right or proving you wrong.
Well, if you have to make a pit stop, if you know you have to make a pit stop, there's no reason to save. Just go and make your stop. The interval now, well, now it's down to as Karam is listening to me, now it's down to a half second. He's starting to knock some time off. Some of that could have been related to the traffic that Wardlow had to get around Robert Bluin.
Yeah, they are starting to get into that traffic, so that's going to change things a little bit. But Dustin's doing a good job. I mean, he's running the line he wants to run. Stage is having to, basically find clean air. And, they're holding each other off. As we say that, Dustin Wardlow opens back up to 0.7 of a second. So I think Dustin Wardlow's good. I think he's good to go.
Working lap, he's 38 on this stiff. There's 20 to go. I can do the math. That's 58. Man, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, but everybody's doing the same thing, so everybody's on the same strategy. So if I was Dustin Wardlow, I would just run till it runs out of gas. I wouldn't care at this point. I'm not stopping.
Maybe we should start giving our attention back to some of the guys like Samuel Ryman, Joe Branch, these guys who are way off pace. Maybe these guys, they don't need to run fast enough to win. They just need to run fast enough to finish. Maybe the pressure of not being in the hunt up front will allow them to one stop it and they can snake one.
The guy to watch is Adam Blocker. He's been moving forward. He hasn't been able to get around Big Joe, so he hasn't been able to make that move, but he's gapped out Andrew Kinsella a little bit. But we're getting close enough now. We got 17 to go. It's now or never.
Here comes... sorry.
I was going to say, if you got the goods, you got to start going.
Here comes Sage Karam now. As he closes the gap on Dustin Wardlow like David Letterman's dentist. Circle it, boys and girls! The interval down to 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, I think Sage Karam realized that it's go time, and he's been saving fuel. But I think Dustin Wardlow is going to be good to go to the end. I don't think he's going to run out of gas or anything. He might finish second. He might finish first, but they got a huge gap on the other guys. So it's going to really come down to these two, I believe.
16 to go. Oh, maybe a little bit of the wall for Sage Karam. Maybe more than a little bit. We look back at it, we think that he maybe didn't get into it, but he had to lift. He lost a ton of time. The gap was down to 0.3 of a second. It is now 0.8 of a second. As we look from up top, we zoom in, we take a quick peek.
Yeah, just washes up. Ooh, it's very close. So, yep, he had to. He's down. He's lost almost. He's almost down to a second behind. So he's gonna have to do all that hard work again. He's gonna run out of laps here if he does. He's not careful. So I say I think Dustin Wardlow's good to go. I think the battle right now to watch is Big Joe and Adam Blocker. Big Joe doing a great job. He's gonna happy with where he's run from 30th to 3rd. Adam Blocker's led a bunch of laps. He's probably not happy with where he's at.
Everybody on the same pit strategy. There are a few cars that topped off. George Ansaldo, one of them. Last car on the lead lap.
Coming up to 10 to go. Sage has not been able to close up. He's still 0.9 of a second, so he might have missed his opportunity there. But here comes Adam Blocker on the move. He's still trying. He can't quite get the position. Going to try to cut the dog leg there a little bit. Send it into turn 3, but man, Big Joe's doing a great job holding off Adam Blocker, who is our pole sitter. Meanwhile, Andrew Kinsella is kind of hanging back there, not really able to get up there, but he's slowly creeping back into the game.
10 to go. 10 miles. 10 times around. Now it's only 9 times around for Dustin Wardlow. Is he fast enough? Does he have enough fuel?
Yeah, his biggest worry right now is he's got a good gap but he's got 3 cars in front of him who are racing each other, at least 2. And that's going to really, they don't get out of his way. It's going to bring Sage Karam right up behind him. And as that gap closes down to now 0.7 of a second, as we go through 1 and 2, Dustin Wardlow really trying to get by those guys. They're letting him by, so that's good to see. But Sage just sees that target. And Adam
On-screen
Blocker.
pass. You got it, Rich.
I was going to say, Adam Blocker finally got by Joe.
There's a pit
Big
stop.
Joe's pitting.
Big
He's
Joe.
out. He is on the same lap as everybody else, so I don't know what that means for everybody else, but he's pitting with like 7 to go.
Flash and go time, baby.
If that's the case, it's going to come down to who saved the most fuel. Dustin Wardlow now only has half a second gap on Sage Karam. Still has some lap traffic. Adam Blocker.
Lanini in as well.
Wow. This goes down to that bad strategy call, if I'm wrong.
Could it be the guys in the back that we talked about? Samuel Ryman, Joe Branch, the guys who are going really slow. George Anzaldo just went a lap down. No, he's still on the lead lap. Going really slow. He topped off. Can he get there? Can he steal one? Wardlow goes around again.
Yeah, if I was Dustin Wardlow, I am not pitting. I will just run out and just eat it. But right now, Sage Karam, he's still half a second behind. But I don't know about this fuel strategy. We'll see how it plays out. Adam Blocker, Andrew Kinsella staying out. Chris Stover staying out.
3 miles. Still a half-second gap between Wardlow and Karam. About 15 car lengths. George Ansaldo ahead of Wardlow right now. Fast enough to stay on the lead lap. And he has a few extra laps of fuel in the car. They come across the line. 2 to go. The interval increases between Wardlow and Karam.
Lap traffic is not going to play a part, so it's going to be a straight-up fight if they can make it. Wardlow's doing it.
It's the white flag lap, and Karam is really struggling to keep the car going. Is there enough fuel? They're out of 2. Wardlow coming up. It looks like Anzaldo might be out of fuel unless he's just getting out of the way. Wardlow through 3, through 4. Does he have it?
It looks like he's struggling, but he's going to make it.
He comes across the line. We give the thumbs up, cancer down win to Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman. Sage Karam could not get there. Blocker gets to the end in 3rd. Kinsella and Stouffer go 4th and 5th. We think Tyler Groff might have lost some spots. I believe he is out of fuel. He ran out on the back straight, got passed by Joe Branch and Chris Lanini. Car ran out of fuel, and 3 cars go by, including Samuel Ryman. Well, we got to the end. We said it would be a long green flag run at the end, and indeed it was. What we're going to do right now is take a short break here on the iRacing Esports Network here on Global Sim Racing Channel, but we will be back for the Plasma Track Victory Lane post-race show, where we'll talk to some of the drivers, run down the finishing order before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. You're watching GSRC on IESN.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
Welcome back to the Thumbs Up Cancer Down Phoenix 200 and the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show. We have a lot of great sponsors here for the Lionheart IndyCar Series. One of those is plasma-tracks.com. They not only produce original racetrack wall art, but motorsports trophies, home decor, and motorsports fabrications are also available. I could try, but whatever I said wouldn't do justice to the uniqueness of their wares. The best way to appreciate what their artwork is all about is to see it for yourself. But be careful. Once you see it, you're going to want one hanging in your home. See it all at plasma-tracks.com. Use promo code LRS2019 to get 25% off your order. And now, as always, not 25, but 100% of the finishing order here for the Thumbs Up Cancer Down Phoenix 200. It is Dustin Wardlow. We didn't know if he had enough fuel. Well, he did as he held off Sage Karam. Wow, not only does he get the win, but he beats a real-world IndyCar driver to boot. Adam Blocker comes home in the podium position. Andrew Kinsella and Chris Stouffer round out your top 5. The back half of your top 10. And I'm telling you, this guy deserves more screen time than he gets. Damon Martinez, a great run from him, up 13 spots to get 6. Cousin Dupree start on the outside of row 1. He'll take 7th. I think he's probably happy with that one. Brian Carey in 8th position. 9th and 10th go to Michael Goodman and Joe Branch. Richie?
Coming home 11th will be Samuel Ryman. Great job. Started 38th up to 11th. Tyler Graff lost some spots at the end. Probably ran out of fuel, but comes home 12th. Brandon Limkerman in 13th. George Anzaldo 14th. First car lap down. Big Joe Hauser was running 3rd for a long time. Had to pit. Comes home 15th. Chris Lanini 16th. John Hill 17th. 2 laps down. Brian Greenlee 18th. Mike Wrigley 19th, and first car 3 laps down is Robert Bluen.
Joe Flanagan couldn't tonight as he finished 50 laps down, hidden blackjack. Bart Workman in the double ducks position. Dandy Dan Guerin, my gosh, 3 poles. He is dynamite here at Phoenix. He'll have to settle for 23rd, 59 laps behind the leader. James Brandt, Brian Beard, Greg West, these guys all had trouble. Bob Mike has put the car on the wall, drove it off the wall, but as the race ended, he gets 27th position. Paul Jenkins, Jason Robards in 29th, and then in 30th, Richie, it was Ron Hacker.
31st will be Ryan Corns. James Skrhula, unfortunately, comes home 32nd. Ken Hacker, same thing, 31st, 33rd. All these guys are non-finishers. Brian Yazek, 34th. Mark Cohn, 35th. Tony Schoen, 36th. Sean Cole, 37th. Justin Weaver, 38th. Jason Galvin, 39th. And our winner from last week, unfortunately, finishes 40th.
All right, let's go ahead and we'll talk to our race winner. It is the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow. Dustin, I didn't think you had enough fuel. You had to go 58 laps. You were holding off Sage Karam. I figured you knew you couldn't get there, and you were just racing full speed. Did you have to save?
Yeah, Sage and I were in the same chat channel, and both of us were trying to several of us actually were trying to save gas for pretty much that whole last stint, or we knew we weren't going to make it. And I think we both ran out off of turn 4. That was intense.
Did you really? Was it starting to sputter before the line?
Oh yeah, almost got rear-ended there by someone who was kind enough to
Not
let
so.
me by, and I was so focused I didn't even catch the name.
Yeah, no, I saw it was a lap car. And I just figured I wasn't sure, but they had come in, they had pitted, and I thought maybe they are in fresh rubber. That's why they would have been faster. My gosh, what a race! So how do you save? You just lift? What you can't dial down the fuel mix on this car. So what do you have to do?
Yeah, so lifting quite early, but then I wouldn't lift all the way. That way I wouldn't lose too much ground to Sage, and I thought he had more fuel than that, and that he was going to be working his way up to me. But we were both, I guess, in full save mode. But yeah, you trying to back off and trying not to let off completely at the same time. Just feather everything around all those turns, and it helped. It was difficult to do. You want to put your foot on it when you're being chased by a Sage Karen.
Were you surprised? I'll get you out of here on this one. Were you surprised to come out of pit lane in the lead? Because you had run longer than everybody else. We figured you'd have to take a little more fuel than it would cost you.
Well, on the pit stop prior, whenever I decided to stay out and just get positions and such, I kind of hoped that the session would go green long enough to where the whole field would come in for tires or something rather, and it just happened to play out the way I'd wanted it to.
But man, congratulations on the win, and it's extra sweet to have Sage Karam in your rear view mirror to do it. Congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you, thank you. Huge shout out to my team. Everybody is super supportive, and shout out to my uncle who tunes in every single week. He puts off personal plans to watch the races, so I really appreciate it.
Congratulations, and you got the win for Dwarves Candy. Always good to see that car in the victory lane.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you guys as well. So great stuff.
All right, Dwarves Candy gets the win as Dustin Wardlow gets to checker flag ahead of Sage Karam. Richie, who you got?
Who we got here?
Looks like I got Sage.
It looks like we got Sage. Sage, you there?
Yep.
All right, man. Good job there. Started third, finished second. I'm sure you wanted a little bit more, but that's obviously a decent finish for us mere mortals. Looked like you were saving some fuel there. Obviously, Dustin kind of spilled the beans. You guys are working on fuel, but tell us a little bit how your race went.
Yeah. Knowing that there was a lot of trouble passing at this track, I focused a lot on qualifying runs throughout the last couple days, and I had I had it really comfortable and was really confident coming into qualifying, and I just missed it. I missed the I didn't get down low enough down to the yellow line in turn one on my second lap, and kind of screwed up my qualifying. Ended up third, which was still good, and I was fortunate that early in the race I was able to get to the lead. And then the strategies kind of came into play, and Dustin got on the right one. And the last run there, I think everybody was saving fuel. Everybody was then on the same strategy. And I saved a lot in the beginning to the middle of that stint. And me and Dustin were talking in the room during that whole little thing. But it's kind of funny because you don't want to like talk too much because you're going for a race win at the same time, but you are helping each other. And so he was kind of, we weren't really saying our numbers exactly what our fuel was, and then I think he said what he had, and I was like 0.2 more than him with like 15 laps to go, and I was like, oh, he's not going to make it, because it was weird. It was like the fuel economy and everything was getting really easy, and the estimated laps you had left on the tank was rising at a pretty rapid rate. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have this pretty easy. And then when I got to like 15 to go, it gets slowed down, and I didn't change anything in my driving or anything. And all of a sudden it started going the other way. And I was like, well, what's going on now? And I was like, well, if I can't make it, he definitely can't make it because he's got less than me. And at that point, I said, well, I'm like right on to making it, and there's a lap traffic in front of him, so I'm going to push. And I started pushing, and that's when I was like a second behind him, and I reeled him into like 2-3 tenths, and almost had a look at him on one lap. Didn't want to chance it. And when I pushed for it there, I lost all the fuel that I had on him. And the last lap, I went into turn one and I went into turn three. off the throttle completely and was on the clutch and coasting around the whole track on the last lap. And I was out of fuel in the middle of 3-4 and got across the line, thankfully. So hard race, but honestly, this was a win for me, knowing my last few oval results have been DNFs. So I just wanted to finish one in a decent position, and we got that tonight, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it looked like at first you were leading the race, kind of had the race in hand, and then you pitted when Adam Blocker didn't, and we figured at that point you had a strategy advantage. But then that yellow flag could put everybody on the same level. We were watching you a little bit, managing that gap. We kind of figured that. We did see you make that charge like you talk about, and then we saw you get up to the wall. I think it was at a 4 one time, and you almost hit the wall. It looked like you had to get out of it. The gap went back to about a second, and then it was just tough at that point to make it back up.
Yeah, I mean the tires were huge. They fell off quite a bit, and when you got about 15 laps, 20 laps in on a stint, it was like virtually impossible to keep it flat off of turn 4 without mowing the wall down almost. So, but yeah, I mean, when Adam pitted or I don't know, Adam didn't pit or I pitted, either or. Um, I truly believed he made a mistake, and looking back, I wouldn't have changed anything I've done. And then Dustin stayed out and stretched his tank, and basically the only way that was going to work for Dustin was if he got a bunch of yellows. Unfortunately, like right in the middle there, we had that string of yellow after yellow after yellow, and he was able to stretch that tank further enough to get it to where he could make it in one more stop with us. But if it would have went green, I think I would have been in the catbird seat then. And I think Dustin and Adam, all those guys who stretched it a little bit there, they would have been hurting if it stayed green. But that's racing. Sometimes you're lucky with the strategy, sometimes you're not. And today Dustin just had the better strategy than I did, and he was fast though. I mean, he qualified well inside the top 10, and he's been fast in the practice races, and he's a really good driver. So, like I said though, P2 for me was just like a win, honestly, just after my, last week with the DNF and then at Homestead a DNF. So, scratch those 2 off. Those are already 2 drops gone, and I'm sitting good with a first and a second then.
Well, it is a long season, and everybody's excited to have you racing with them, including us. So, great job, man. Great talking to you, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Yep. Thank you guys for doing what you guys do up in the booth. It's always cool to come back and watch these things and show them all to my friends and my family and stuff. They like to tune in and watch. So thank you guys.
And the girlfriend.
And the girlfriend, yeah, but I think she's asleep right now.
Yeah.
She's at school in the morning, so she's
Wise girl.
yeah.
All right. Sage Karam, congratulations on the second place finish. We're doing one more real quick because we're about to lose our iRacing Esport Network satellite feed here. So we got to squeeze this one in before the satellite goes around the horizon. We're going to talk to Adam Blocker, our third place finisher. Adam, how close were you on fuel?
Well, I ran out of gas crossing the finish line, so.
Let's talk about the setup. Different race from what we've usually seen at Phoenix. I kind of liked it. Wasn't fond of the yellow flags, but I thought it was the racing a little tougher than a draft track that we usually.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the lower downforce setup. For what it's worth, we had less cautions here than we did last year, so it was better in that way too. And it was tough to pass, but you could definitely still pass. So as evidenced by the fact that Andrew and I kind of made our way through the field there at the.
Yep, you and Kinsella racing nose to tail. That's how we usually do it on the iRacing Esports Network, or for the Lionheart, either one of you ahead or the other guy ahead. So it was a good race for your team. Good points.
Yeah, I mean, 5 cars in the top 10 and Adrenaline, and we also had 3 in the top 5, so pretty good. Just kind of surprised because it was difficult to navigate the pit strategies with all the yellows and stuff. I kind of got myself on a wacky strategy, but fortunately it worked out.
There you have it. Congratulations on the podium. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Adam Block, your defending champion, your third place finisher tonight. First Medical Equipment. They've been the source of medical supplies and equipment in Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service. Mr. Hearn?
Sim Experience, the makers of AccuForce V2 Complete, the premier professional racing simulation steering system. The key to the AccuForce Pro's incredible realism is the groundbreaking direct drive motor control system, providing a driving experience that, when combined with today's best racing simulators, is as close as you can get driving to the real thing. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the SimVive software, 3DOF, Stage Series Motion, and GS5 G4 Seat, visit simexperience.com.
Butt Kicker products add that missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism and immersion to your session. See all the family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION25 to get 25% off your order.
To contact any of the sponsors you see on the screen right now, go to LionheartRacingSeries.com, click on 2018 sponsors, read or scroll to the bottom where you can click on the company logo.
How do we get this your way? Well, there's all the products that we use to do it. And how about the music? Well, that's courtesy of June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact her.
The Lionheart Series returns in 2 weeks, Wednesday, April 24th from Pocono. GSRC and IESN will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. The next broadcast on IESN is GSRC's coverage of the Precision Racing League's Radical Series, Round 4 from the Ring. Coverage begins Thursday, April 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, there's some of our other broadcasts on screen. Go to globalsimracingchannel.com to get a hold of us, or try us on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, or Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Hey, don't forget to become a YouTube subscriber. Go to our YouTube page and hit that button. Finally, on behalf of all the crew, that would be Richie, Amjad, Doug, I'd like to thank all of you for watching as we saw Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman, pick up the win here in Phoenix for the Thumbs Up, Cancer Down Phoenix 200. With that said, we're off to storm the castle. So, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.